Durant and Steph Curry. If you add up their points, rebounds, and assists, they are combining for over 97 of them per game. That would be the second most by any duo in NBA Finals history, behind only the 1962 Tour de Force by Jerry West and Elgin Baylor, who lost the series. NBA front office insider Amin Al-Hassan with us now. I have a really bad memory. Can you remind me who you picked to win last night's game?
I picked the Cavs. I thought that Cleveland, this was their best shot coming back home, having the home crowd, having, the role players obviously play better. Kyrie Irving would feel more comfortable, and then with the better shooting, LeBron James would have more room to operate. Minus the great shooting from the role players, a lot of that happened last night. For 46 minutes, we saw the Cleveland Cavaliers put together their best effort, and then the last 2 minutes, they let the guard down, and the Warriors just punched them in the face, and it was a knockout.
So what do you have to say to all the Warrior fans out there?
Well, I owe them my deepest apologies. I don't think I've ever been so wrong in all my life about anything. I don't have any explanation. I can't walk it back. I can't justify it. I was just wrong, and so I hope everyone out there forgives me for being so wrong about that prediction. The worst I've ever had in my career.
All right, let's talk about LeBron because he missed only 2 minutes last night. The Cavs were outscored by 12 points while he was on the bench. How does that happen,
it's been happening, Tony. This isn't something new. If you look at through the regular season, they've been outscored by 8.5 points per 100 possessions when LeBron goes to the bench. If you look at the playoffs, they've been outscored by 13 points per 100 possessions when he goes to the bench. There's something about this Cavs team that doesn't click whenever he's not on the floor. And I know most people say, well, if your best player isn't playing, obviously you should not play as well. That's fair, but you shouldn't fall off a cliff. And the Cavs fall off a cliff. Tony, this year they're 0-8 when LeBron doesn't play. They got outscored by 16 points a game in those 8 games. Since he's returned to Cleveland, they're 4-23. This team is terrible when he doesn't play. Not just not good enough. They're terrible. And that's a big issue. When you look at a team that has a Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, 2 marquee players, all-star players, maybe even all-NBA players, that aren't capable of even being break-even when LeBron's not on the floor, that's a huge burden on him, and that's why he has to play all those minutes.
So if the season ends for the Cavs tomorrow night, what moves do they need to make in the offseason to not only get back to the finals, but win it?
Well, to get back to the finals, they could just keep the team together, and they'll be back in the finals. They're clearly the best team in the East. To win it, though, I think they need something drastic, and I think the time has come to start exploring moving either Love or Irving. We hear about players like Paul George and Jimmy Butler being available. If I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm ready to start that dialogue with anyone not named LeBron James on my roster. Because what you need to defeat this Warriors team is length and the ability to play both sides of the floor. And that's the biggest problem with the Cavs right now. They got defensive guys who can't play offense. They got offensive guys who can't play defense. And the Warriors will exploit that every single chance they get.
Well, with the win last night, the Warriors set the record for the longest postseason win streak in the history of pro sports. They have won 30 of their last 31 games. Where do you stand on the best team ever discussion?
Obviously going undefeated in the postseason would be a huge feather in their cap. And I was talking with some guys after Game 2, Mike Wilbon and Mike Wise, saying what would be more impressive had they won last year as a 73-win team and won in 5, or as a 67-win team this year and sweeping the postseason. And almost unanimously, those guys and everyone else I talked to, sweeping the postseason is a bigger deal. And so if we're talking about single season, this would probably be the single best season in the history of the NBA. When you look at whenever the end of this Warriors run happens, whether it's next year, 2 years, 3 years from now, I think we'll look back and say this is one of the greatest teams of all time. Basically, maybe the greatest of modern times, since Russell's Celtics.
There you have it. Amin Al-Hassan, our front office insider, with the insight. Thank you. I mean, we're going to stay with the NBA, and for that, we're going to send it over to you, Randy.